Hello and good day, Mike Adcock with an update on severe tropical storm Mani in the western Pacific. This brief is based on the 9 Zulu Japanese Meteorological Agency advisory package issued on the 14th of September 2013. With that update, this placed the center of Mani about 825 kilometers east of Okinawa, or about 1155 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. Winds have increased right now at 50 knots, gusting to 70, and it is continuing to move off to the northwest at 14 knots. Pressure is 985 hectopascal. JMA has put out that 50 knot probability now out for all of Honshu, as well as a few prefectures there in northern Kyushu. Taking a look at this multispectral imagery, what you're seeing is not a whole lot of convection over the center of circulation. That's actually good news. Not really looking for this to be a huge wind maker. Right now the official forecast takes it on the verge of becoming a typhoon. There is a possibility it may make typhoon status prior to landfall. The biggest concern is going to be not so much the force of the wind, but the duration of the wind. Wind radii is rather wide, looking for the effects of this storm to be far-reaching. And then the other concern is going to be heavy rain. But still, quite a bit of a banding feature. Do have some good outflow here to the southwest, as evident from the cirrus clouds here. Like I said, just a lot of dry air being wrapped into it. So not one of the better looking tropical cyclones, but will be something to keep an eye on as it approaches southern and central Japan over the next couple of days. Here's the 6 Zulu JMA surface analysis, kind of giving you an idea of what's going on here. Here is Mani here to the south of Japan. Again, looking at the subtropical ridge, that's going to be part of the story here, and that's kind of the reason why we're seeing this northwesterly motion here. Is this ridge continues to extend across Japan into Korea and actually into far eastern China. But this area of low pressure here exiting out of far northeastern China into Russia, that's going to be the big playmaker here. As it continues to move off to the northwest, this cold front associated with it will quickly erode this ridge of high pressure over Korea and Japan, causing Mani to shift more to the north and then eventually northeast as it follows in the front's wake. Matter of fact, taking a look at the JMA forecast, here is Sunday morning here, about 9 a.m. local time here in Japan. You can see there's Mani. Here's our area of low pressure, and you can already see the ridges starting to erode in advance of that low. That's going to help shift it to the north in the interim, and you can see it's pretty much parallel, lined up with this cold front that's exiting out of China. By the 24-hour, or rather the 48-hour mark, this is going to be Monday morning. You see the cold front extending through into Japan, and at this point Mani's merging in with it, becoming extratropical. And this is reflected in the JMA official forecast here. Near-term northwesterly motion. As that ridge erodes, is going to start shifting to the north and then eventually to the northeast, accelerating as it becomes extratropical. The official forecast, again, currently 50 knots, gusting to 70, should see some continued strengthening. The 24-hour point, which is this 15th at 9 Zulu, that places it just below typhoon status, 60 knots, gusting to 85. There is a possibility that it can become a typhoon prior to landfall. That being said, at this point we're already starting that extratropical transition, significantly increasing wind shear, so it's going to be difficult to get. If it does become a typhoon, it shouldn't be much more than 65 knots prior to landfall, and then starts to quickly erode. Here's the 48-hour point, or actually the 45-hour point at this point, 50 knots, gusting to 70, and then extratropical out by the 17th at 6 Zulu. Here's the JTWC forecast track, pretty much on point as well. Northwesterly flow starting to shift up to the north. Slum continued strengthening. Matter of fact, peaking out here at 18 Zulu at about 60 knots, and then starting to weaken as it approaches Japan and becomes extratropical. As it approaches Japan, at that point it's going to get embedded within the mid-latitude westerlies, gets wrapped up in that frontal. The good news, and this is something that we've been fighting with actually for better over a week now. We've been tracking this system on the global models, and it's been all over the point. If you remember, there was talks about Okinawa, Taiwan. Now the models are in pretty good agreement. There's high confidence in this scenario. So now we're just working out the hazards. We're pretty sure at this point that it's going to be affecting southern and central Japan, or southern central Honshu rather. The question now is how much of the wind, because you can see here on this image the wind radii is very, very wide, so it's going, these winds are going to be affecting a large portion of Honshu. So how long are these winds going to be a factor? What is the intensity going to be? And then how much rainfall are we going to pick up? We're going to see quite a bit of rainfall, so there's going to be questions of rain, or flooding, landslides as well. So something that we're definitely going to have to monitor as we get into the early part of next week. This is same track, JTWC. This is just the wind radii forecast extrapolated out. The area in blue there is 35 knot winds. In yellow is the 50 knot winds, and you can see right now targeting the Kanto Plain and portions of a large majority of Tokyo there. Right now did get this is as of 6 Zulu, or 9 Zulu, correction. At 9 Zulu, Yokosuka, at Sugi, Koda, as well as Camp Zama and Camp Fuji. All 5 locations are in TC Core 3, or the tropical cyclone condition of readiness. Right now looking at peak winds to be about 50 knots, gusting to 65, and this is going to be early morning, or this is going to be in mid-morning on Monday. Right now looking at about 9-10 o'clock local for the worst conditions. Again, the biggest issue besides the brief strong winds is going to be precipitation. Also looking at 6 to 8 inches of rainfall as this comes through. The majority of the heavy rainfall is going to be a little bit further off to the west, and that's because this system is a banding type feature. It's not your doesn't have that central dense overcast. The convection's not really firing up over the center of circulation, and you can see that here on the Dvorak analysis. That convection is really off to the southwest and wrapped around. Matter of fact, all the agencies pretty much on point here, looking at a T 3.0 for the initial intensity. Some minor discrepancies here and there, but all about the same. NESDIS is saying that tight convective band wraps around about 7/10 on the log 10 spiral. JTWC was a little more conservative. They only went with 5.5/10. That's why their data T is a little lower, 2.5, and they opted to go with the model and pattern for their final 3.0. But again, a banding type feature, so the effects are going to be a little further away from the center of circulation. Water temperature is not going to be an issue in the meantime. Currently sitting about 30 degrees. As a matter of fact, here is your 28 degree isotherm, so pretty much butted up there along Honshu. The main issue is going to be wind shear. That's going to quickly erode this system as it approaches Japan. Right now, looking at least 60 knots throughout most of Japan, and that's going to just continue to increase in the near term. Here's our frontal system wind shear aloft there, even more so, looking at least 80 knots. So as it starts to affect land, wind shear is just going to quickly kill it. This is the GFS precipitation total model. I bring this up because, again, The expanse of the winds is going to be a concern, as well as the heavy precipitation. This is valid through 0 Zulu on the 16th, or about 9 local there in Japan Monday morning. And that area of white you see here right now identifies at least a foot of rain. Right now looking at about 12 to 14 inches in that swath, or about 300 to 350 millimeters of rainfall. You can look over into the Tokyo area as well. 4 to 8 inches. You know, I was mentioning earlier the bases are looking at about 6 to 8, and that's going to continue throughout your day on Monday and into Tuesday morning. This is through Tuesday morning at 9 local, and that just continues through northern Honshu with rainfall amounts up to 8 inches there. So definitely going to be monitoring the progress of Mani over the next few days as it bears down on Japan. Of course, this you can get this and other information over at westernpacificweather.com. You can follow along on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also join in on the conversation at storm2k.org. Follow me at Twitter at Senior Pepper. I'll be posting from time to time with updates. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, and please take care.